Hello, my name is Anson Asaka. I'm the founder of New Possibilities. And today I'm going to respond to Don Lemon's rant about Black people. And I'm not going to go in depth um, regarding what he said in his video. I recommend that you click the link that will be included in the description to this video so you can see Don Lemon's comments for yourself. Now, in his rant, he reduced all the problems in the Black community down to 5 things. And he basically said if these 5 things were corrected, we would solve a lot of the problems in the Black community. He talked about sagging pants. He talked about the use of the N-word. He talked about Black communities littering their communities. He talked about the high dropout rate in the Black community. And finally, he talked about out of wedlock births in the Black community. He compared that rate to other communities and essentially blamed a lot of the problems that exist in the Black community on out of wedlock births. And the whole thing that's prompted his whole commentary or his rant was a video that Bill O'Reilly did. And in that video, like Don Lemon's video, Bill O'Reilly blamed all the problems in the Black community on the Black community. He blamed all the problems in the Black community on the disintegration of the Black family and on the high out of wedlock births. And all of this discussion came from the George Zimmerman verdict. So instead of discussing the fundamental issues of racial profiling, the issue of a young man being killed for no reason at all other than the fact that he was Black, a young Black man being targeted just because of his race. Instead of addressing that issue, Bill O'Reilly went on a rant trashing Black people and blaming Black people for our problems. And Don Lemon essentially adopted Bill O'Reilly's racist reasoning. And obviously this generated a lot of controversy. And Russell Simmons was one of the people that responded to Don Lemon's comments. Russell Simmons provided a response. And in response to Russell Simmons, Don Lemon did another video where he responded and elaborated on his rant against Black people. So for this video, I'm going to focus primarily on Don Lemon's response to Russell Simmons. And in the description, I will include links to Bill O'Reilly's video, a link to Don Lemon's 2 videos, and also I will include a link to my blog article where I fully respond to Don Lemon and Bill O'Reilly. And in a nutshell, my response to this whole rant is that essentially what they are doing is trying to absolve white America or American society in general. They're trying to say Black people are to blame for all of our problems. Instead of addressing the problem of racial profiling, instead of addressing the problems of economic disparity, the problem of disproportionate poverty, the problem of poor, inferior schools in the inner city, these people would rather trash Black people and blame Black people for our problems. They're not looking at the disproportionate unemployment rate and the disproportionate poverty rate in the Black community. They just took this opportunity to divert attention from the main topic, which was justice for Trayvon Martin and justice for African Americans. And they turned that into a topic about what African Americans are doing wrong. So I just wanted to do this video responding to Don Lemon's video. So in Don Lemon's response to Russell Simmons, Don Lemon says, hey, I didn't blame black people for their problems. But yes, he did. Don Lemon said that Bill O'Reilly's statement blaming black people didn't go far enough. So Don Lemon, you did blame black people. Just go back to your video and look at it when you talk about how Bill O'Reilly didn't go far enough. When you talk about how Bill O'Reilly had a point, and then you went on to say he had more than a point. So let's not try to change the script. Look at your own video and you will see that you did in fact blame black people for the problems in the black community. And in your response, you said that you did not present these simple items as a solution to the problems facing the black community. But you did. You said, here are some things that we can do to solve the problem. And then you went on to rant about black people pulling up our pants, stop using the N-word, stop littering our communities, stop dropping out of school, and stop having children out of wedlock. You went on a rant about that. So you did, in fact, present those simplistic items as solutions to a problem that has existed for decades and, in fact, centuries. So let's not pretend like you did not present those simplistic items as a solution to the problems facing the black community. The next thing is, you started out your video by presenting statements from Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. You also included statements from the First Lady and the President, President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. Essentially, you tried to take these very important figures who are loved by black people, and you essentially tried to pimp those figures to promote your rant, your anti-black rant. And for that, I'm calling you out. That is wrong. It is wrong for two reasons. The first reason is, unlike you, Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were soldiers in the struggle for black liberation. Each one of those men stood up to white supremacy. Each one of those men gave their lives so that we could be free. They didn't spend their lives ranting against black people. They devoted their lives to fighting the system that oppresses black people. Unlike you, they didn't get notoriety by making statements trashing their own people. So I find it to be an insult and offensive for you to use those two great men to perpetuate or to promote your anti-African American rant. Of course, we believe in social responsibility. Of course, everybody believes that we should be responsible. No one wants kids to drop out of school. No one wants that. But why not look at the factors that lead to dropout rates in the Black community? Why not have a rant about that? A rant about the failing public school system, a rant about the disproportionate and unfair disciplinary policies in these schools, which help fuel the school to prison pipeline and help kick kids out of school instead of keeping kids out of school. Why not rant about that? So don't use the image of those influential, well respected Black men to promote your agenda. Now, the problem that I have with these personal responsibility speeches can be summed up like this. These speeches are designed to make white people feel comfortable. They're designed to say, don't worry, we're not blaming you for the problems in our community. We're blaming ourselves. And that basically lets society off the hook. And I have a problem when that's done by the president, and I also have a problem when that's done by the first lady. I mean, I respect them immensely. I respect the first lady and the president greatly. But I don't understand why someone would give a speech at a Black college graduation about kids not reading, about kids supposedly thinking that reading a book is acting white. Why would you make a speech at a school where kids have devoted themselves to higher learning? So obviously that message is not for the graduates of those universities. They are not the ones who think speaking proper English is acting white. In fact, most Black people don't think that. I haven't encountered one person saying that you're acting white by speaking proper English. I haven't heard one person say you're acting white by reading a book. And I'm from the inner city. I didn't grow up in the suburbs. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. So I think that a lot of these statements about viewing positive aspects as being white just aren't the case. I mean, in many communities, we don't see speaking proper English as acting white. We don't see studying hard as acting white. I don't know where that story even got started, but it's not something that exists in a lot of our communities. Many of our communities celebrate those who have made it to higher education and have graduated and become professionals in spite of their tough circumstances. So I don't know where this narrative is coming from, but it's not coming from the communities in which I've lived, in the inner cities of Detroit and Baltimore, in Newark and elsewhere. So I don't know why we constantly hear this myth about Black people thinking that if you're speaking proper English, you're acting white. No other group is subjected to this type of these type of insults and this type of condescending commentary. When Latinos and other immigrant groups fight for immigration rights, you don't hear Latinos trashing their own community about other issues to deflect attention away from the core issue, which is immigration rights. When women talk about their right to choose, you don't hear other women talking about what's wrong with women and trashing women when they demand the right to choose and when they demand equal pay for equal work. So why is it that when black people demand justice for a young black man shot through the heart, why is it that we get a lecture on personal responsibility? Why is it that when we demand an end to racial profiling, we get lectured on personal responsibility? Why is it that when you have a group of young black men that have persevered through tough circumstances and have gone on to graduate from Morehouse College and who are sitting in their chairs listening to the president speak while it rains, why is it that those young men have to be lectured about personal responsibility? They have proven by their very presence and by their graduation that they know very much about personal responsibility. They know a lot about personal responsibility. They know a lot about persevering in the face of adversity. Those are not excuse makers. So why is it that they get lectured about personal responsibility? Why is it? Now I'm just going to end on this note. We live in a white world. Even though we have a black president, this is still essentially a white man's country and a white man's world. And in this white man's world, in order for an African American to be celebrated, a lot of times that African American man or woman essentially has to sell out. And that's what Don Lemon did. He sold out by trashing his own people. And that's a shame. There are many people who have profited by insulting their own people. A prime example of this is YouTube. Some of the most popular channels on YouTube are dedicated to trashing black people. These channels are dedicated to denigrating black women and black people in general. These are some of the most popular stations on YouTube. Because in this society, when you trash black people, you are recognized by the white power structure. You are celebrated by the white power structure. How else could you explain figures that have no supporters, they have no large African American following, but yet you see them on many news channels? That's because this society loves to hear black people trash black people. And they love it because it absolves white people of their burden. It allows or gives license to racism. It says, it allows them to say, well, I didn't say that. A black person said that. That's a disgrace and a shame. It's a shame that CNN no longer has Soledad O'Brien on that station. She produced some of the most critically acclaimed documentaries on race. It's a shame that you don't have Roland Martin on CNN. He provided strong commentary on race. Now CNN is left with Don Lemon, and it's a damn shame.